this episode. It was filled with some good scenes, but it was filled with a lot of questionable scenes. There were some bad choices made in that will have massive implications going forward for not only the rest of this season, but the rest of the show as well.
You're goddamn right.
Arguably for me, the standout scene of the entire episode goes to Larys, because Larys absolutely smashed this out the park in terms of his acting, and we get great backstory, we get great character development, but I still don't know who he's backing. I still don't know what his agenda is. I still don't know what he wants. I still don't know what his end game is. I'm starting to get the impression he's on Team Aegon and he's not on Team Aemond, but I'm still not convinced. I'm still not under the impression as to we are clear on his motives, on what he wants, what his end goal is, and the part he's playing in this whole Game of Thrones. I love the fact that we got Viserys returning in this.
Woo! Yeah, baby! That's what I've been waiting for.
Any more scenes with Paddy Considine, I am up for. And I thought it was one of the good parts of this episode. Now, considering probably the high of House of the Dragon was an old man walking down a room with a stick.
King Viserys of House Targaryen.
I think any kind of scene with Viserys in going forward is going to be a standout for me. So I thought it was great that we got Viserys return. What I would say is, though, is that the Daemon plot now, with all of these visions and hallucinations, is starting to drag on. It's starting to be quite repetitive, and it either needs to get to the point, quicken up, or we need to start seeing the Daemon that we got in Season 1, the badass, the shithousery master, the rogue prince that we're so used to seeing.
That's why he's the GOAT! The GOAT!
Aemon's council scene, one of the standout performances of the episode. He's creating fresh alliances with the Triarchy. He's ordering the Lannisters to march on the Riverlands and Harrenhal. He's even proposing a plan for Daemon to fight on two fronts. He's trying to move away from flat out relying on his soldiers, Criston Cole, and the dragons. And these are really smart decisions, really smart plans. But it's his attitude towards this, and it's his confidence, and it's his flat-out shithousery. Aemond is proving to be, once again, my favourite character in this series.
Hell yes.
Really shocking scene that he decides to get rid of Alicent. What is quite contrasting, though, is he's looking to bring Otto back onto the council, and arguably the strongest influence at the council, because unlike the rest of the council, Otto isn't going to sit there and let Aemond rule the roost. He's going to offer sensible counsel, he's going to offer strategy, and he's going to call Aemond out on his bullshit as well when he's either overstepping the mark or his plans aren't quite to the best interest of the Greens.
You're absolutely right.
Now, Rhaenyra talks about Ser Steffon Darklyn having noble blood, but then she talks about the Darklyns and the Targaryens being related by blood through Steffon Darklyn's grandmother's grandmother, Aerion Targaryen, who doesn't officially exist within the line of Aegon the Conqueror. However, through some research, I've understood that there are some Targaryen princesses that were married to lesser houses, and potentially one of those could have been the Darklyn family. If I'm honest, I thought this was quite a weak scene. This scene, not the acting was great, but the way that they've conjured this into the story, for me, feels really weak. What I did like about this scene, though, was the build-up and the suspense, the CGI. I thought Seasmoke looked so realistic, and again, very distinct versus the rest of the dragons. And then we had the twist of fate right at the end of this scene, which was Seasmoke absolutely blasting Ser Steffon and one of the other dragon tamers out of existence.
Fuck yeah!
It seems quite contradictory, though, for the Smallfolk to see Rhaenyra in a positive light, because she is the reason as to why the blockade exists in the first place. She is the reason why these people are starving. Surely the Smallfolk haven't forgotten that, or is it that they don't know? They haven't been told. I can't quite put my finger on why the Smallfolk aren't retaliating against Rhaenyra about the blockade. But hey-ho, I did think it was a smart plan for Rhaenyra to send food and other supplies, I imagine, to the Smallfolk in order to heighten her claim to the throne as not only the most rightful heir to the Iron Throne, but also the best candidate for the job. I would arguably say we did not need this scene. Because I can't see what it offers the show. It offers nothing for Rhaenyra's character, I don't think. It wasn't in the book. I don't know what it offers either of them going forward. I'm not shocked that they put something like this into the show. Now, some fans are seeing this in a positive light, okay? It's a lesbian kiss. But I don't understand why we've got this scene. The other part of this episode that really pissed me off was the whole Seasmoke and Adam of Hull scene. And it's not the fact that Adam of Hull has been confirmed as Corlys's son. It's the fact, it's how they went about Seasmoke finding Adam.
I shall call him Squishy, and he shall be mine, and he shall be my Squishy. Come here, Squishy.
It felt off. Why would a dragon randomly go from burning Ser Steffon Darkling to flying straight to wherever Adam is, I think he's on Driftmark, to then go and follow him around and recruit him as a dragon rider? In the books, it's questionable as to whether or not Adam and Alan are Rhaenyra's children. Now, why I think that should have been the case is because we're basically told that only Targaryens are the ones that can ride dragons. Now, there is an exception, and I will get to that exception in a moment with Nettles from the book. But on the whole, it's arguably canon that only Targaryens can ride dragons. It just so happens as well that George Martin has come out with a statement on his blog just before this episode went live to basically say that dragons don't go off and wander. They like to keep in and around where they are by their lair. So this seems very much out of character for Seasmoke. This just feels shoehorned in and very off from other dragon behaviour that we've seen across Season 1 and Season 2. It does break canon. It does feel off in terms of how dragons behave, and it just didn't make sense for Seasmoke to go and seek out Adam for him to become a dragon rider. We've had no build up to this, and it just feels like they needed Adam to be involved somehow, and this is the best story that they could come up with. But it was a terrible way to execute Adam as Seasmoke's new rider. Not to mention that Rhaenyra is either dead or is out there somewhere, and it breaks more canon, if he is alive, that dragons can only have one rider at a time.
Not a great plan.
The other thing I'm not happy about is the fact that we will likely get, and this is going to be a big spoiler for the books, and this is going to be a big spoiler for going forward, but we will likely get Rhaenyra as Nettles.
What? What the fuck?
All the signs point to that, right? And I think that is a goddamn atrocity to canon here again. What a shit decision that they have made.
Boy, that escalated quickly.
Again. And I'll tell you why, because the whole point about Nettles being in the story was the fact that you don't have to be a Targaryen to ride a dragon. And yes, that contradicts what I've just said about Adam of Hull and Seasmoke, but it just means that a girl born from nothing can claim a dragon in this world. It doesn't mean you've got to be born from a royal bloodline to claim a dragon. It means she can work hard and come up with a viable strategy to claim a dragon. And yet they're taking that away from us. They're taking away arguably one of the most relatable characters in the books and replacing her with Rhaenyra, who, to be quite frank, is one of the weaker characters in this show.
Ain't nobody got time for that.
If you enjoyed the content, consider dropping a like and subscribe so you never miss an upload. Catch you on the next one. Cheers.